Chap, top 7 in the FIWC 2017, top 5 FEWC 2018. He has just an amazing FIFA resume, so it's going to be a challenge for Rasta, and I'm excited to see how Nicolas is going to do in this game.
All right, well, let's talk about RastaArtur representing Portugal. He's going to be your 25th ranked player here, and he's got, as we had mentioned already, a tall task ahead of him here, Chu. Big game for him, but he's capable of doing it. How does he do it, though?
I mean, first he's got to get past that Nicolas death stare that you saw before. But, you know, RastaArtur, nice guy. Say what's up, Rasta. You know, the good thing about RastaArtur is that he knows how to execute a plan. If he does have a plan against Nicolas, he's very good at just knowing what to do at the right time. You saw it against MBD. He executed that perfectly. So you just have to take your chance against Nicolas and not let him have the first goal. Yeah,
so we're going to go into the predictions now. And, Mike, I'm going to let you have the floor for this. I want you to argue both cases. If Nicolas wins, how does he do it? RastaArtur wins, how does he do it? And who do you think is going to win?
For Rasta, the big key, like Chu said, do not concede early, because then Nicolas is going to be in a controlling situation, and that's not what you want. They say man's not hot. We got the ice man. You do not want to put that power in his hands. If he feels that he's controlling the game and he's able to dictate the pace, he's going to win, and he might even win convincingly. And at the same time, Rasta's very underappreciated. I've seen him play in Bucharest. He's in all the qualifiers. If you talk to other professional players, they're definitely giving him a thumbs up of approval. And beating Dr. Urhano has got to be good for his confidence. That's number 9 in the world. And that's got to tell you, okay, cool. I'm definitely where I need to be. And he's kind of been growing this year. I've seen better results at multiple different events. And I think this might be a lot closer than what people are expecting at home, but you have to go with Nicolas. Okay. Until somebody takes him out, how can you go against him? I think his early scare versus Mo Alba really woke him up and got him back on the Nicolas game plan.
Yeah, so I guess what Mike is saying here is that blame Mo Alba if you know what happens here. If
that's fair enough. Yeah, that might be what I'm saying. Like if Nicolas is in prime form, you can blame Mo Alba, because Mo Alba had the chances to definitely progress in that game, and I've never seen so many unforced errors from Nicolas. And if we talk to him now, I'm sure that he'll say, "Yep, that was not my best gameplay." He scored goals in that game and shook his head in displeasure.
Yeah, that goes to show you it, right? So, Alan, your thoughts and prediction.
So, Rasta, yes, we cannot discredit him. He's a very great in the attack. We saw that against NBD. I do see that he uses La Croqueta a lot, so it's going to be interesting to see how Nicolas is going to be able to manage those type of skill moves. But honestly, you just really can't go against Nicolas, a player with such a great FIFA resume. He's just been performing, scoring goals left and right, defending very well. It's going to be a tough one for Rasta, but I see that Nicolas is going to come out with the victory.
I mean, Nicolas the Iceman, he's kind of like that, you know, that White Walker in Game of Thrones, the one with the... Dude, that guy's mean, man. I'm going Nicolas all the way. He's going to control all those minutes in the match against RastaArtur, so I don't see Nicolas losing this one.
Well, the desk is unified with Nicolas, but we got some goodies for you in the chats. Luckily for you, my man Chu has got you covered. What's the drop today, bud?
I got some nice drops for you guys again. First drop, we got 5 of them today, so you're in for a treat. The first drop has already dropped. So check your FUT accounts to see if you have received a 92 rated flashback Fernando Torres. If you're, you know, a Liverpool fan or a Chelsea fan, you do want that player who played for your 2 clubs. So check your your FUT account to see if you have that flashback Torres. Go to ea.com/Twitch linking to make sure that your account is linked to Twitch, and hopefully you can earn a new reward. We got 4 more coming.
Who doesn't want an El Niño in the club?
I mean, I support United. I don't want him. I want a Vidic. I want an icon Vidic, prime moments.
I don't know why Chu's fronting. If that was in his account, I'd be like, thank you very much.
Oh, he'd be very happy.
No, I would do the SBC.
Chu hasn't gotten anything. So.
I would put him in an icon SBC just to get rid of him.
I respect that. I respect that. All right, well, now it's time to get into our second semifinal of the day. It's going to be a good one. Send it over to your casters. One more time, you have Dan Gaskin, Scott Cole.
Thanks so much, gentlemen. Back here in the Boost Mobile caster desk. And Dan, well, we're catching our breath from semifinal number 1, but in semifinal number 2, they talked about it. You have the heavily favored Nicolas with an opportunity to spoil our all-Portuguese final.
And RastaArtur's been in this position before. They faced each other before. I think it was Bucharest in January. And it was only a 3-2 victory for Nicolas. So that is the case. they are still so close, despite the fact that Nicolas is #1 on the leaderboards, despite the fact he is the Iceman, he dominates. RastaArtur, he can get a job done here. I know we talk about the Cinderella story, talk about the underdog. He is an underdog, but I wouldn't say he's that much of an underdog in this tie.
No, we're ranked in the top 25. I think that's just telling you is he's just outside of being in top class, top tier. A win here would certainly help the resume, not only the points, the cash, being in the final, all that kind of good stuff, but you're also going to put some respect on your name if you're able to take down the #1 player on PlayStation 4.
Yeah, the way he'll be thinking about it is just focusing on, I just need to beat the man who's in front of me. I need to beat Nicolas, and then suddenly I'm in a console final, an all-Portuguese console final, as you mentioned. In terms of the Global Series rankings, if he were to win this and secure himself those 850 Global Series ranking points, he would soar up the leaderboards. He'd be around the top 10 mark instead of the 25th mark that he's at the moment. And he's going to be thinking Tuga was only 1 spot behind him. Tuga was in 26th. He's in 25th. Tuga already getting to that final. If RastaArtur drops short here, he'd be overtaken.
I see the game face of Nicolas. Maybe 11 inches away from the screen. Locked in, getting their formation set. And here we go. We're going to have the kickoff here. Semifinal number 2.
Enjoy the game.
Can we have an all-Portuguese final? Nicolas is in the white kits, all white, looking crispy. And Rasta in those gray kits with the lime green numbers on the shirt. And he's already pressing, and I love it.
And Rasta's certainly not made it easy for himself this tournament comparatively to Nicolas. Nicolas went 3-0 in the Swiss and kind of brushed everyone aside, whereas RastaArtur was 3-2, losing to players like Dr. Ohano in the Swiss, but then he went on to beat Dr. Ohano in the knockouts. So maybe he's just one of those players when it gets down and dirty and it comes to being eliminated or not, that's when he starts to show up.
Well, here's his first possession. Varane over to Alexandro. Frenchman with another touch. Vieira's out there. Cancelo. Boy, the patrons already in full lather. Waiting to see who's going to be in the final. Who's going to face Tuga? Mbappe. Tornado time.
Okay, we're starting early with some tornadoes today then. Didn't see any in the previous semi-final, but RastaArtur, no shame. He's going to try it just to see if it works out early on. And then he might resort to some more normal footballing play as this game goes on. But Nicolas, look at him. Stone cold, very focused as he always is.
An El Tornado warning in effect. Perfectly timed, but perfectly saved.
And that's where RastaArtur needs to be careful. Just those simple drag backs to beat that final man and get the shot on goal. It was good goalkeeper movement from him to prevent the ball hurtling into the back of the net, no, but that's what Nicolas has to offer. Like his teammate at the E-Club World Cup, he is very skillful in the final third.
Sandro. Vieira now. The icon, R9. Boy, back-to-back perfectly timed shots. Spoiled.
Look where this cursor is. Just aiming towards the back post, and now he's moving Ronaldo all the way back to win that header.
He'll bomb it! Double header for the first goal! And R9, it's Ronaldo to Ronaldo, back of the net.
Perfect set piece. You saw the little yellow icon there being moved. Switch over to Ronaldo. Ronaldo's going to win that every day of the week, but he's not hitting shoot. He's hitting pass. And Van der Sar is getting nowhere near that one. A well-executed set piece from Nicolas.
Well, Van der Sar, even though he's an absolute legend, an icon, he never saw Ronaldo to Ronaldo, I can tell you that. 1-0 in favor of the #1 player on PlayStation 4.
And I love seeing creativity from set pieces. In fact, it was the E-Club World Cup. Nicolas and Tex, when they teamed up together, their set pieces were phenomenal. The things that they were trying, very experimentative. Obviously, it put in a lot of hard work together. And you can see Nicolas has done more of the same individually here as well.
Well, we saw Tex do a similar corner but he brought Cristiano Ronaldo to the top of the 18 and passed it in via header. Ronaldo now.
It was all the way back at Paris Games Week where Mo Alba really showed us the sheer power of switching to one of those players in the box and controlling them rather than just allowing the computer to move them for you. And it seems to be getting better and better as people work out different ways with these set pieces.
Pull it. Go to Vieira. Boy, how many times have we seen those two guys pass it between each other? At CDM. Ronaldo. Back to Vieira. Former Arsenal legend. Pull it. And R9 tried to roll over there.
Yeah, nice scoop turn to try and beat the man, but a lackluster shot in the end. And you're right, we see so much of Vieira to Hullet. Because of the way that players will defend and sit behind the ball, it often means that outside the box, it leaves it to Vieira or Hullet to maybe take a shot. And that's why we see some players trying to introduce the likes of Luka Modric, the likes of Kante, who have a better foot on them, a better rifle from outside the box, really, than the likes of Patrick Vieira.
Of course, when you're building your squad, it's nice to have that chemistry between those two icons.
Absolutely.
To help fill out the rest of the 11. Vieira. Neymar. Dragged back for space. Looking for R9, but Varane able to, for a moment, try to clear this defending third. And we haven't seen a lot of those lifts, and some of that's maybe because high risk, high reward.
Yeah, I mean, it is a little bit scary sometimes when you do just play a through ball and then it's intercepted comfortably. You give a possession back to your opponent, and then suddenly you're ruining a mistake and you're just hoping you're going to regain possession sometime soon. But we've already seen RastaArtur's game plan in effect. It was during the quarterfinals against NBD, where he was very much just sitting back and absorbing that pressure and saying, hey, I'm going to let you push on. You can have as many strikes or goal as you want, but I'm going to hit you on the counter-attack. Whether that's going to be as effective against someone like Nicolas, that remains to be seen, but it's all been possession for Nicolas so far in this first leg.
Well, a missed lunge almost opened up the middle of the pitch. Can he counter? Mbappe. So hard to get past Hullet and Vieira. Pretty through ball. Oh. Keeper off his line. Vieira.
And even though it didn't come to a goal in the end, at the climax of that push, it was just fantastic little ball roll in the grand ending there. He noticed that he saw the player, the keeper, coming out of his line, and he was like, all right, well, I need to just get the ball away, and the reactions from Nicolas to do so was phenomenal.
And that's where you talked about if it was a Luka Modric, if it was a Lionel Messi, maybe you do let it fly to the back post. Even though his right back was on the back of that line, trying to fill in for his keeper, who is well off, and we are at halftime.
And just the set piece, just the corner, separating these two then. Even though it has been all Nicolas going forward, he's been more than happy to keep possession. But RastaArtur, we saw yesterday, he is completely fine with just sitting back and allowing his opponent to have possession, because he's clinical in front of goal. When he's presented with an opportunity, he will put it away. This is the furthest we've ever seen RastaArtur in a tournament. And he has the chance to cause an upset here and try and join his fellow Portugal friend, Tuga, in the console final.
Well, you think that breeds a little bit of confidence. I know maybe the deck stacked against you having to play Nicolas here, but you just saw your Portuguese mate make it happen. How much more of a motivation is it to maybe have a little all-Portuguese derby?
I think there's always going to be that little something behind any game, and he will look for inspiration from Tuga's performance. But they're two very different players, despite the fact they're from the same country. As we get back underway here now with the second half of this first leg, and just some pinball passing from RastaArtur as he's just trying to draw out a couple of Nicolas's players.
Alessandro Little ball roll. Ronaldo will play it back. Hold it. Starts the advance. Cancelo. On to Mbappe. And Neuer with a kick save.
And that's better from RastaArtur, though, creating a little bit more opportunity now. A low-driven shot, though, was counteracted, but that's onside. Thankfully, Van der Sar was off his line there, Scott.
Well, had to come out and put a header to it. I'm not even sure he did that. Maybe a shoulder, maybe a chest, but neither way, got it away momentarily. Of course, you never see the handball, and gladly so. Or we'd sit here and kick penalties all day long.
And now these are the opportunities for RastaArtur when he does regain possession against Nicolas. When Nicolas is quite high up the pitch, but look how quickly all the players in white shirts have just darted back into his own half. It's going to be extremely difficult for RastaArtur to break this down, and quite rightly. I mean, the defensive record of Nicolas at this tournament has been phenomenal. Only conceded 13 goals so far. That's an average of about 2.6 per match. And when we look at some of the results from yesterday, we had like 11 threes and whatnot. It is very impressive that Nicolas is thriving in this meta.
R9 to Cancelo. And Mbappe almost with a great standing challenge, but possession still with Rasta. Varane. Blanc, who we saw gave up a penalty in his last time out.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that Blanc is one of the interesting inclusions. I don't know whether that's just personal preference from RastaArtur or he likes the height advantage, of course. I'll go back to it several times. Sometimes we see players use the foot items they've actually got available to them at home. And Prime Blanc is a little bit cheaper than the likes of Team of the Year Varane.
Just a tiny bit. Just a smidge. 68 gone by. 1-0. But this is what we've seen from Rasta. He's not going to let the match get away from him. But at some point, you're going to have to answer. Luka gives it away. Haul it. Blanc plays it to the midfield. Ronaldo wins the header. And Neymar. Job on the dispossession. And Nicolas will build from the back.
So just looking at RastaArtur's lineup, I'm presuming that's Cancelo at right back. That's probably why we're seeing Blanc included and Van der Sar as well, just to give the chemistry to Varane as his centre-back counterpart. Just making sure that chemistry is best as possible. And then I would imagine that Cristiano Ronaldo has been linked up to Cancelo as well, or just shove an icon there.
Sandro to R9, the Brazilian sensation. Can Ronaldo help out his Portuguese mate here on the sticks? Mbappe ran into a trifecta of defenders.
It seems to be that's the story for both players at the moment. They're just running into bodies at either end. Both players tracking the through ball runs very effectively, but here's a little bit of a chance for Nicolas.
Ronaldo. Nice job letting it play through, but Cancelo. Great defending. Mbappe.
Oh, it's so unfortunate. Maldini just clipping Neymar as he was trying to make that through ball. Otherwise, he might have been in for a chance on goal. And you can see RastaArtur is desperate to hit on the counter-attack. Players flowing forward as soon as he gets that ball.
Now, what moves do you make now with here in the 83rd minute? Just trailing by a goal, you certainly don't want to give up a second. But if you could find the equalizer, boy, would that be big heading into leg two.
Well, one thing I was very impressed by with RastaArtur during the quarterfinals is despite going 2 goals down, he still stuck to his game plan against MBD. He still went for, I'm going to play drop back, I'm going to absorb the pressure, I'm going to hit you on the counter-attack. And it worked. I mean, he won 7-4 in the end. He was able to secure so many goals. Of course, the ones in the latter stage were just because MBD was pushing forward and he had naturally more gaps at the back. But I do feel like RastaArtur is reluctant to release his normal and default tactics. I feel like he's only going to switch up to something new if he's desperate. And maybe if he were like 3 or 4 goals behind. Or if we get to the stages where he's only got a few minutes left, maybe 20 minutes in the game, and has to switch things up.
They'll lay it off on the free kick. Nicolas from Argentina. Those all-white kits. Does Rasta have a counter in him? Pull it. On the foot of Mbappe. A nice run and a beautiful timed shot there by Lionel Messi in the 86th minute. The substitute makes the difference.
And just a couple of changes from Nicolas as well. He wasn't happy with the 1-goal lead, and it's a brilliant pass and move. Notice that run from Messi. And it's a green time finish just to the left of the goalkeeper. And that's going to be a little bit frustrating for RastaArtur as he's kept so close in this game for so long. And now he does trail by that 2-goal cushion that I was talking about, which means that he will have to consider a different game plan in the second leg.
An inner tap of the boot to the top shelf for the greatest to ever do it, Lionel Messi. Neymar on the drag back. Can Rasta answer late? No, Maldini has other ideas. Out to Ronaldo, up the right wing. Another through ball. Does Lionel have another one in him? He'll cross it in. And Cancelo didn't elevate, but he does clear it out of the 18. And here's a lofted through ball back the other way. Ronaldo trying to flick it up, but Cancelo playing well on both sides.
Yeah, that's a shame for RastaArtur there in that he had one more chance. Maybe he should have just popped a cross in there and hoped for the best, but I appreciate the attempt to just try to flick the ball over that right back. But Nicolas is looking well on form in this console semi-final on the PS4 side of things. Still only conceded 13 goals so far in this tournament. On the other side, he's scored 26 now, so doubling his goal difference. For RastaArtur, as I said, he was very resilient in his quarterfinal. He wouldn't change his tactics, and he still came from behind. Maybe he will try the same in the opening stages of this second leg. But it's whether Nicolas is going to provide him with any opportunities to counter-attack, Scott.
I don't want to speak for the production crew here, but he can take that towel home with you. We're not going to need that towel back there from RastaArtur. Man, when you think about Rasta here, down 2 goals, heading into leg number 2. I know you like to absorb and then counterattack. That's almost out the window. At least the first 30.
Maybe he can try it for the opening stages of the game. Because I feel like if I hadn't seen the quarterfinal against MBD, I would have said, change things up straight away. It's not working. But it did work in his quarterfinal. I think he'll know that as well. He'll know that he was presented with the opportunities. But are we comparing Nicolas and MBD as similar players? No, they're completely different players. MBD is a very much more attacking flair kind of player, whereas Nicolas is going to be more than happy now to run this game and control the possession. And that's a scary factor for RastaArtur. Nicolas is one of the best defensive players in the game at the moment, in my opinion.
Right now, Rasta very deep in those tactical changes. We're sitting behind him. Of course, won't give anything away. And maybe he's just double checking that things are the way he needs them to be. Certainly has the talent. Just needs a few bounces to go his way. And almost needs a clean sheet here in the second leg.
Yeah, you have to feel if Nicolas is going to get a third goal, that might just be too steep a hill for RastaArtur here. But there were chances for Rasta in that first leg to try and get a goal back. Tried a couple of low-driven shots, but they weren't timed green, and that will be maybe playing on his mind to say, all right, if I had a time those green, would I have been able to secure that goal. And almost a signature towel now that we see being brought around with him. Smaller than a towel, but bigger than a flannel. What do we call it?
In America, it would be a hand towel.
Right, okay, yeah. No, I think we do the same in England. And it's very important. I mean, your hands do get very sweaty. I've seen quite a lot of FIFA players actually nowadays just bringing a hand towel with them to make sure that they're not slipping on their thumbsticks, etc.
Well, sometimes the studio is of a warm nature, and you do need a towel. Sometimes you get in these studios that are like walking into a freezer, and you need the hand warmer, you know, to keep the fingers.
Yeah.
Keep the fingers loose.
I think what's funny is back when I used to play in 2009, we used to bring towels and kind of toss them at our opponents to say, oh, you're a sweaty player, here's a towel. It was almost considered an insult. Now, it's a necessity. It's a blank white towel. Let's get some sponsors on that. Let's get a Sporting FC.
Second leg. 2-0 on aggregate in favor of the Argentinian #1 player on PlayStation 4, Nicolas. Or Nicholas.
I mean, it's...
I don't feel very footballish with Nicholas.
Again, it's just my natural Englishman kicking in where I just say the most English name I can.
Pull it. Opening build-up here for Rasta. Boy, what an early goal. Changed the landscape. Neymar! Scoop, turn, fire! The Brazilian has brought him back within one. What a gem from Rasta.
Well, you said you wanted an early one, and there it was. Fantastic movement in the box as well from RastaArtur. And the low-driven keeper's going to get nowhere near it. It's those kind of goals he'd been searching for in the first leg, but he wasn't getting the space that he'd wanted. An incredible through ball, and then just beating the defender, just getting far enough away so that he had the glimpse on goal. And now we do have a semi-final on our hands.
Well, it's a 6-minute goal for Neymar.
Number 7, Neymar.
From Brazil, makes his home at PSG. And if you didn't know that, you just got the internet today. 1-0 here in leg 2 for Rasta. Brings them within a goal aggregate. Nicholas with a chance to answer.
I don't think we'll see any massive drastic changes from Nicolas in his game plan, whether he's a goal ahead or two at this point. He'll still continue to just hold the ball, play possession game.
Oh, that is filthy, disgusting. R9 answering in the 12th minute with an absolute low-driven banger.
It's always when he gets into that box, it's simple scoop turns or drag backs, whatever he fancies. So difficult to defend against Nicolas, despite the fact one of the best defensive players going forward as well. He's so threatening, and I feel like him and Tex have been learning from one another since their E-Club World Cup outing. I see elements of both of their games now kind of crossing over into each other's, and it's beautiful to watch.
He was marked. You saw Varane coming over to provide some assistance, but he broke himself all the way down to his knee. Couldn't get anywhere near the power behind that shot.
And I do think that's one of my favorite things about FIFA 19. You do get different styles across the competitors. You get your attacking players like Tex, like Kurt, for example. Very good going forward. You know you're going to see goals. And then you've got your defensive players like Nicolas, like Dax. Very good at possession. But it's when you get that crossover, when you get that combination of both, which Nicolas has started to really do well. He flourishes going forward and defending now, which makes him a very formidable force. And I really feel like he is going to be a huge challenge to any of those Xbox players if he's able to move on to that console versus console final.
It's the guys that can go box to box. They're almost impossible to prepare for. Eliminating those weaknesses, becoming strengths. That's what you see from a player like Nicolas. And now up 2 goals, he'll take his time. I wouldn't say he's wasting it. Certainly being careful with the build-up.
It's just time management. It's just sensible play. Reduce your opponent's possession and they're not going to be having chances on goal, but he's given that one away. And RastaArtur needs to take full advantage of these very few opportunities he's going to get going forward.
Cristiano, little drag back. Neymar, see if he gets the extra pass, but Mbappe will pull the trigger and turned away. Maybe had an opportunity for one more through ball, but you can't ever question Mbappe pulling the trigger.
And I don't know whether maybe RastaArtur just not warmed up yet, not hitting those greens timed. We see some players in the circuit who will never miss a green. Tex, one of them. Envy's Jazz has been one player that's really impressed me with how well he hits greens left, right and centre. I thought he would get a little bit further in the tournament, if I am honest, but he's still performing very well as of late. But RastaArtur maybe just needs to focus up with a couple of his timings, and he might see more of those goals.
Bullet now. Back to Alex. Sandro. Ronaldo. Mbappe here for Rasta. Has a man out on the right side. Neymar Jr. Little roulette. But in the end, it's given away.
A little bit more experimenting from RastaArtur going forward. I'm liking it. And it's only going to be a matter of time before he's going to be presented with a clear-cut chance. He just needs to take it to really set this semi-final alight, I feel. Because if Nicolas is able to grab a 4th goal, it's not going to be fire, it's just going to be cold, it's going to be wintry, and we're going to be covered in ice. As Chuboy said, Game of Thrones will be arriving.
We had a goal from Neymar in the 6th minute here in the 2nd leg. But Nicolas answered back just 6 minutes later with a low driven from R9. And that keeps the aggregate at a 2-goal differential. Vieira over to Hullet. Vieira again. Searching. And Blanc with a clearance.
But even with the clearance, it's just going straight back into the feet of a white shirt. And Nicolas is going to be more than happy to bide his time and build up. It's simple ball rolls and croquetas to make space, but a little bit of pressure from RastaArtur. He just needs to be able to nip one of these balls away a little bit higher up the pitch to really give him that counter-attacking opportunity that he's been searching for. And I would imagine at half-time, he's probably going to switch things up.
You talked about clock management. And here it is at the 45 with 2 minutes extra time. Does give it away. Chance for a possession here for Rasta. Here at the end of halftime. Neymar. Looking for a target. Keeps it himself. Still has it. Mbappe! And Ronaldo would have been right there to provide the goal, but it gets away from him.
And it's
still alive for R9. Perfectly timed. And then Neymar. 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Over 9,000 effort. And we are 1 goal away once again.
And it's a massive shame for Nicolas. He's done pretty well defensively, I've got to be honest. He was trying to shrug players off the ball. He saw both of the advanced fake shots, but somehow RastaArtur was able to keep hold of the ball. And I'll give credit to Rasta. I mean, he did keep his composure. He did still play the pass. He wasn't quickly firing, pulling the trigger. But that's a gift back into the game, I feel now. But he needed it. And I'm sure he's going to be more than happy to go in just 1 goal behind now at halftime in this 2nd leg.
An attack full of person. There in stoppage time at the end of the 1st half. And he knows he's within striking distance. And perhaps the conversation totally different if he was trailing by 2. But now just behind a goal, he knows he still have an opportunity for an all-Portuguese final. But he's going to need to play an absolute gem of a 45.
I did love the double advanced fake shot with Neymar on the right-hand side, though. When you get in those positions now, because how the current meta is, you're expecting either one of 2 things. Are they going to El Tornado Or are they going to try and get in? And you saw, look how desperately Nicolas is trying to win that ball back. 3-4 tackles gone a miss. But good composure from RastaArtur, despite the fact that Nicolas was constantly trying to get the ball back. When it lands at your feet there, you have two decisions. You say, am I just going to shoot straight away? Or am I going to try and play this ball around and risk getting tackled? Second half then, in the second leg. Nicolas just needs to forget about that one and not let it frustrate him.
Well, he was lucky that it was a clean tackle at the 6-yard box. But Ronaldo was able to chase it down. R9 with the shot. And then Neymar, just a complete peppering of the frame. It leads to a goal. And now, Nicolas with a giveaway on his opening possession of the second half. Can Rasta bring us level?
I mean, the answer is yes, he can. He does have the ability to do so. He was one of my favorite players back at the first tournament in Paris Games Week. First tournament of FIFA 19. Of course, PlayStation only tournament, that one. Very creative when he was going forward. It looks like a very different player nowadays. More than happy to just sit back and wait for the counter-attack, but these players do just adjust to what's presented in front of them.
Mbappe now. Little croqueta, able to pull it through. Mbappe. Modric. And we've seen several changes, and anytime Luka comes on, you know also the attack is coming as well. Mbappe on the feet of Neymar, tries to turn.
Ah, that's sloppy. Sloppy and quick, but he's still managed to regain possession there, RastaArtur. That's fortunate for him. He needs to make sure he's not too hasty with his attack when he does win the ball back, because Nicolas is going to be so slow in building up and just managing that clock that he is just going to apply that pressure to win the ball back. And he's done it again, Nicolas. His defense really is phenomenal, using that second man press and then switching over to make sure he dives in and makes that challenge. Very difficult to attack against. If you have one little doubt in your mind about where you're going to pass, you're going to struggle against him.
Hold it. Cancelo able to keep possession. And see who had that tremendous standing challenge on Hullet. But enough to send it the other way. Referee says play the advantage. And Neymar will flick it up and serve it in.
And it's just a shame there that's fallen on Mbappe's head. Maybe needed to add a little bit more power behind it to the back post to get to Cristiano Ronaldo. We might have been seeing 3-all there. So I think Nicolas would have been more than happy to see Mbappe, of all people, leaping for it.
And another advantage played by our match official. And there was the back post, but Van der Sar just too wise to not get that in his mitts.
But that was an opportunity for Nicolas there. He opted to just go for a normal cross. He could have held down that L1 button and hit that cross a little bit higher and towards the back post, and maybe the keeper would have fluffed at it. Definitely chances going begging for Nicolas as well, and he needs that 2-goal cushion, I feel, because RastaArtur does look dangerous on the counter.
Alessandro gets it out of his final defense. Cancelo runs into Mbappe.
I mean, it was Mbappe running into Cancelo. Again, Nicolas just relentless with the amount of pressure. Even if he is on drop back, even if he is defending, he certainly knows how to manually defend as well. Moving those players into all of the right positions. I remember back in London, we were all in awe at the absolute masterclass of Nicolas and how he defended. It's a different patch now and a different chance with other opportunities to arise, but he's still defending successfully. And it still is a pleasure to watch.
And Blanc will receive the card. Remember the advantage played a few moments ago. But the match official with the strong memory goes back and puts him in his book. And these are the waning moments.
This is what separates your champions from just guys who are going to finish in your semi-finals. It's about closing out these games, and that's what Nicolas does so well. And I spoke about RastaArtur and how, like, what these global series ranking points would mean for him to kind of push himself up towards that top 10. For Nicolas, it's about just creating that gap between first and second. We see Tex do it on the Xbox side of things. With Stefano Pina, unfortunately, falling from this tournament already, Nicolas has a real chance to put himself heads and shoulders, sorry, above everyone else. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
We haven't seen a bicycle kick, but it could happen. We're in the 77th minute. Luckily to be just turned away. They're outside the 18. Had a target man inside. And here's some opportunity, but Neuer not able to let Lionel Messi get into his grasp.
I think we're going to start to see more lofted through balls as these tournaments go on. Certainly Ajax Danny had sussed something out. I saw him constantly loft through ball left wing. Mbappe always getting on the end of it time and time again. And especially if your opponent isn't switched on, not defending well against it, it's going to present several opportunities.
Modric on the feet of Messi, back to Luka. Looking, searching! And it goes begging.
It took a deflection, I feel, so it might be a corner here, but that deflection almost looked like he was going to go hurtling into the back of the net, and that would have been terrible for Nicolas, really. He would have felt extremely hard done by, but he's going to have his back against the wall in these last 8 minutes because you know RastaArtur is going to be coming forward now, looking for that equalizer.
And we should have a corner here. I'm with you. The angle of that shot did change on a deflection. And here comes the corner. Messi. And we'll do it again. 84th minute now. Ibra also makes a debut. Sabio. That's enough to win the goal kick.
And you can see the difference. I mean, if we think about that, it's only one goal in it, and Nicolas's first goal was that set piece, that creative set piece to the back post of Cristiano Ronaldo, just nodding it down to the Brazilian Ronaldo. Whereas RastaArtur didn't really have much to offer from that corner. The short passes weren't getting past the defense.
Messi, the cross, it's early, and it's beautiful. Nicolas, with an 87th minute goal. Messi, with a beautiful early cross. That's right on the money.
And that was always going to be the risk of happening. As soon as RastaArtur threw everything forward, there were going to be gaps at the back. He tried to move his goalkeeper, hoping to catch maybe a shot to his right, but in the end, it was just an open goal for Cristiano Ronaldo, an open goal for Nicolas, and an open way through to another console final for him.
I love me some Ibra, but once I saw Ibra come in, you knew all the cards were being put on the table. Unable to track back.
The fourth official has indicated there will be a minimum of
2 minutes extra time before allowing Nicolas to punch his ticket to the final. Well, he'll face Tuga. Ibra. Ronaldo.
And it's just a little bit too late, unfortunately, for RastaArtur. How desperately he would have loved that goal earlier on. Nicolas is going to have the kickoff. It's already into the 93rd minute. And surely you feel like the referee's going to blow. But it's been a great performance from RastaArtur, his best performance yet in the FIFA 19 season. I'm sure he'll be more than happy to secure the 625 Global Series ranking points, but it's all Nicolas. It's the Iceman again, securing his spot in the console finals and continuing his dominance in FIFA